The first time money changed the way your friends and family treated you, nobody said anything. That's what made it so confusing. Nobody announced the change. Nobody explained it. But one day you start noticing little things. A conversation that goes quiet when you walk in. A joke that lands differently. A family member who suddenly asks more questions about your work. A feeling that somewhere, somehow, people have been talking about you. Not to you, about you. You didn't change. A number changed. And a number, it turns out, is enough. This is how your friends and family treat you at every level of wealth. Level 1. Nothing. When you have nothing, the relationships are the simplest they will ever be. Nobody is keeping score because there's nothing to count. You split a bill 4 ways and nobody thinks about it twice. You show up to someone's apartment because nobody can afford to go anywhere else. Your family worries about you, but the worry feels like love because that's all it is. At this level, people react to you. Just you. Not what you have. Not what you represent. You. There's a specific warmth to this era that you won't fully understand until it's gone. Everyone is in the same boat. The boat is uncomfortable, but nobody is rowing alone. Remember that feeling, because it doesn't last. Level 2, the first gap. You land a job, a raise, a promotion. Not rich, not even close, but slightly ahead of where everyone else is standing. And that slight distance is enough to introduce the first friction. Your friend hesitates before saying yes to dinner. You say, don't worry about it. They come, but something is slightly off. You paid. They said thank you, but they seem smaller somehow. And you feel guilty for having more. And they feel guilty for having less. Nobody says any of this out loud. That's when you learn the first rule of money and relationships. The feelings arrive before the conversation. And sometimes the conversation never comes at all. Your family starts to notice too. Your aunt mentions your cousin at the bank. Your uncle asks about your benefits. Your mother repeats your job title in a voice that isn't quite hers. A voice that belongs to pride and relief mixed together. You are not a worry anymore. You are a data point. Evidence that someone in the family figured it out. The pressure doesn't disappear. It just changes shape. And underneath the pride, underneath the relief, there is something else running. A quiet anxiety they will never name out loud, because naming it would mean admitting that your success has changed what they need from you. And nobody is ready to say that yet. Level 3, the gap becomes visible. Now the difference isn't something you feel. It's something everyone can see. You move into a better apartment. You stop checking prices at restaurants. You book a flight instead of driving. Small things, but visible things. Your friend group starts to stratify. The ones who kept pace with you, those friendships stay easy. The ones who didn't, they show you one of 2 things: genuine support or quiet resentment dressed up as a joke. A comment about how you've changed. A jab about your new apartment that's framed as teasing but lands a little too sharp. You laugh it off. They say it again. And then the borrowing starts. It was $50. Now it's $500. Now it's a loan for rent with no date attached. You tell yourself it's a loan. There is no paperwork. There is warmth and gratitude. And a month later, the warmth has settled back into the ordinary texture of the friendship, and the money is not mentioned again. You don't bring it up. You notice that you don't bring it up. You notice that you are keeping a number in your head that nobody else is keeping. A running total of what moved in which direction. You didn't choose to start keeping it. It started keeping itself. This accounting is not resentment. It is the specific vigilance of someone who has learned that financial relationships are real relationships with real stakes and real feelings. Attached, even when everyone agrees not to discuss any of it directly. Your family does the same thing, just differently. They don't borrow. They ask, "Can you look into this for me? Do you know anyone who could help? You're good with money now. What do you think?" You didn't apply for any of these roles. They settled on you the way roles settle in families, without a conversation, without a vote, with the full weight of everyone's expectations already attached. Level 4, 6 figures. Something changes socially at 6 figures that nobody warned you about. It's not the money, it's the signal. Once people know you're making 6 figures, and they will know, somehow people always know. A certain kind of attention arrives that you didn't ask. 4. New people want to be around you. Old acquaintances become warm. People laugh harder at your jokes. People ask your opinion more. It feels good for about 2 weeks. Then you start wondering how much of it is real. Your old friends split into 2 camps now. Camp 1, the ones who knew you when you had nothing and treat you exactly the same. Who tell you when you're wrong. who don't adjust their behavior based on your bank account. These friendships get deeper here because they've survived the test. You know what they're worth. Camp 2. The ones who've been quietly keeping score for years. At 6 figures, the gap is too wide to hide. Some of them pull back entirely. Some of them get closer. Not because they like you more, because proximity to your success feels like a consolation prize they're willing to accept. And some of them start undermining you in ways you can't quite prove. Mentioning your salary in the wrong rooms. Pointing out your failures with a little too much enthusiasm. Taking credit for things that were adjacent to your work. You file it. You keep all of them around. You're not cynical enough yet to act on what you're seeing. Your family has entered a new phase, too. The holiday dinner feels the same. Same table, same food, same arguments that have been running for 20 years. But the room has reorganized itself around you in ways that are invisible and completely visible at the same time. Your father defers to your opinion in a way he never did before. Your older relatives ask what you think about the news, the economy, decisions they're already in the middle of making. Younger cousins watch you across the table. You didn't change. The number changed. The room responded to the number. After dinner, someone finds you in the kitchen. They've been waiting for this moment. You can tell by the way they lower their voice and check that nobody else is nearby. They have a situation, an opportunity, they call it. You've heard this kind of ask before. The form changes every time. The structure is always the same. Warm preamble, then the real sentence, then the specific weight of a family relationship being used as collateral. If you say yes, it costs you money and possibly the ability to say no next time. If you say no, it costs the specific warmth between you that has existed for years and is now, quietly, on the table alongside the dessert. You find a middle answer. Not yes, not no. You tell them you'll think about it. They understand what that means. You both pretend it means you'll think about it. The dinner continues. Nobody says anything that was actually true about what just happened. You love these people, and loving them is exactly what makes this so hard. Level 5, 1 million. At 1 million, you are not just a person in the room anymore. You are what the room represents. New people enter your life, who seem genuinely interested in you. Then you realize they knew your net worth before they knew your name. Someone always has an opportunity for you, a deal you'd be crazy to miss, a situation where they just need a small bridge. You learn to recognize it by the third sentence now. That fluency cost you something to acquire. Old friends have finally split into the real ones and the long game. The real ones call you the same nickname they always did. They show up without a reason. They tell you the truth when the truth is inconvenient. The long game ones mention your portfolio before they ask how you're doing. They use the word "we" about your company before there's any paperwork to justify it. Your family has shifted too. You paid for your parents' anniversary trip. You did it because you wanted to. You did it because watching them not afford the thing they'd talked about for 30 years was not something you were willing to sit with. Your father said, "Thank you," in a way that was grateful, and also something else. You recognized the something else. It was the same feeling you had years ago when someone slipped you money at the right moment. And you felt grateful and smaller at the same time. The power dynamic between parents and children is one of the most stable structures in any family. Money breaks it. Not with drama. Not with a conversation. With the slow, quiet shift of who needs what from whom, repeated across dozens of small moments, until one day you are both standing in a new arrangement that neither of you chose, and neither of you has language for. And somewhere underneath all of it, you notice something. The people closest to you haven't actually seen you clearly in years. They see the version of you they need, the version that solves things, the version that represents something. The ones who see you most clearly are people you only met after the money changed. You sit with that for a long time. Level 6, beyond. At the highest levels, the social experience of money becomes something different entirely. The room doesn't react to you when you walk in. The room adjusts before you arrive. Conversations shift. Energy reorganizes. People become careful. Not unkind, careful. You are not isolated. You are surrounded by people who want to be around you. And you are completely alone inside it. Those two things occupy the same space without canceling each other out. That combination, being surrounded and unseen at the same time, is the loneliness nobody makes a video about. The people closest to you understand less of your daily life than ever before and depend on it more than ever. You can explain your life. They just can't live inside it with you. And somewhere along the way, the people who remain become obvious. The friend who still calls you by the nickname they gave you when you had nothing. The sibling who never keeps score. The cousin who never asks for anything. The people who saw you before the number and somehow still see you after it. The list is shorter than you expected. That isn't a tragedy, it's clarity. Because you've learned the hardest truth about money and the people around you. Money doesn't change people, it reveals them. Everything that came out at each level was always there. The jealousy, the love, the competition, the genuine support. The long game that was running underneath the whole time. Money didn't create any of it. It just turned up the light. And the people still standing beside you in the bright light? Those are your people. Most people don't talk about this part of getting ahead. Now you know. If this one stayed with you, leave a thought below. Subscribe, there's more where this came from.